What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to go into detail on a dinosaur that has never made an official appearance in the Jurassic Park film series, but it actually has been an idea that they've played around with including. This is an animal that I always thought would have made for an extremely cool big bad in a movie because of how different it is compared to what we've seen before in the past, and it's one that I think has a lot of cool paleontological history behind it that would make for a really compelling threat.
I promise that will never happen as long as my men and I are in charge of your safety here at Jurassic Park.
So during development of the Jurassic World TV series Camp Cretaceous, a lot of different dinosaurs were being kicked around for inclusion in the show. One was a baby version of something that had previously shown up in Warpath Jurassic Park. This was Cryolophosaurus, and it was a theropod dinosaur that was considerably smaller than anything like a Giga or a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And it even happened to be smaller than something like an Allosaur or Carnotaurus, but make no mistake, this carnivorous animal was one that would have made for a very unique and even creepy dinosaur if they went about presenting it properly. When the animal existed, it happened to be a 20-foot predator from the early Jurassic and hunted in what is now known as Antarctica. The subadult size of the creature is believed to have been a little over 1,000 pounds, and its most prominent feature happens to be this bizarre looking skull. The best way for me to describe this dinosaur to you in a Jurassic Park sense was that this was something similar to the head ornamentation that you've seen before in Dilophosaurus from the original movie, with a pompadour crest that was more than likely used for intraspecies recognition. Its name meaning frozen or cold crest lizard, which is pretty fitting based off of where it was found. Now, to say that Cryolophosaurus looks different to other Jurassic Park dinosaur designs is an understatement, and due to its size being way smaller than ordinary big bad theropods like Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3 or the Tyrannosaurs we've seen in the movies, I think there is a ton of potential for this thing to be a part of new scary scenes if they played their cards right. In fact, it probably would have been the perfect fit for the snow sequence in Biosyn Valley during Dominion, only it more than likely wouldn't have swimmed the way they made that animal go about doing in the chase scene in the film. I don't know what's that's all about, but you know, an Antarctic dinosaur being presented in a snowy environment, it's pretty cool. One of the things that I think makes Cryolophosaurus so interesting in comparison to other creatures we've seen before in the past is you usually have a big bad theropod. Tyrannosaurus in the original, 2 T-Rexes in Lost World, Spinosaurus in JP3, the Indominus. The Indoraptor is an outlier before we get to the Giga. Now, the Indoraptor's treatment in Fallen Kingdom was way different to anything we'd ever really seen before. This was a scary creature that was kind of a mess. It was a Frankenstein monster that was trapped inside of a mansion. But if you can imagine a creature like that on the outside, maybe in a jungle or forest area where it's in its own element, it's been surviving out here for a while, you could do all kinds of cool stuff. You don't have to always have people running from something considerably bigger from them, you know, something that could squash them or step on them or pick them up or rip them apart. You could have something actually chasing them, streamlined, almost like a lion or tiger. I mean, considerably bigger, but still, there's something about this sized animal that has been untapped in the Jurassic Park movies, and paleontologically speaking, it's a beautiful looking creature. I mean, you can just tell by like reconstructions and skeletons or even the skull itself, this thing looks like a bird, some sort of weird murderous creature with sharp teeth and the crazy head crest. It's identifiably different from what we've seen before in the past, and I think it would make for a beautiful but deadly addition to Jurassic Park. Another interesting thing to talk about, though, happens to be recent studies done on the animal. In 2020, research has kind of placed Cryolophosaurus into a more basal neotheropod group, some more advanced theropod dinosaurs that are believed to have survived the Triassic to Jurassic extinction event. So what we've got here is a smaller Arctic dinosaur that is very fit for surviving pretty well, with a unique looking head crest that sets it apart from antagonists that we've seen before in the past. It's a dinosaur that has been floated around appearing in material even rather recently, and of course it eats meat, meaning that it would make for some pretty cool attack scenes if they ever wanted to make it into a live action movie. It's a dinosaur that can survive pretty serious events paleontologically speaking. We know that it's a bit smaller than one of the big bads that they've used before in the past. It's a carnivorous predator with a crazy looking skull. To me, sounds like a good subject for a movie. Unfortunately, when we compare the usage of Cryolophosaurus to the Jurassic Park versus Jurassic World sides of the franchise, the more recent inclusion would have simply been a baby version that would have existed within the operational theme park in 2015. That was the Jurassic World approach. Whereas the old school representation from Jurassic Park was much more fun in my opinion, with the dinosaur being a pretty formidable opponent in the Jurassic Park fighting game released for the PlayStation 1. This was only a couple of years after The Lost World. This was 1999, so it still retained a lot of the older, more edgy identity Jurassic had back in the day that was more pure in spirit to the scientific techno thriller, and seeing something like this in a movie, you know, a formidable Cryolophosaurus, not a little baby, where the animal was a bit more elusive and vicious in a film, well, I think the look of the skull alone would have teed this guy up for a seriously cool scene or two. I'm going to pitch a little scenario to you guys sometime around the era of Jurassic Park 3. Imagine the cold gray steel aesthetic the third Jurassic Park film used to market its movie. A bunch of Site B engine guys are working inside of a refurbished laboratory after Hurricane Clarissa has hit the island and after the harvesting team left from the Lost World. Dr. Wu is hard at work cloning new animals for the second iteration of Jurassic Park that is supposed to be open in only 5 or 6 years' time. Suddenly, an alarm system rings out. An animal has escaped containment on the island. Security frantically makes their way past holding pens where bars have been bent out from a cage, blood covers the steel doors, and gunshots are heard echoing out where men are running to stop a commotion heading outside. You get a glimpse of a streamlined and extremely fast animal running towards the jungle at top speed with the gait of an ostrich or turkey. A terrifying roar pierces the air and imagery of an escaped Cryolophosaurus darts out of the zoned off area where research is being conducted. There goes one of the new assets bred for the park. It wasn't on InGen's list and it's escaped into the wilds of Isla Sorna. That to me sounds like the kind of dinosaur, tone, and respect to the source material that I think could make for a seriously cool Cryolophosaurus scene in a movie. And this is an official dinosaur that Universal has toyed around with using very recently for their Camp Cretaceous series. Albeit, I know with that, they were aiming for something more towards, you know, a family-friendly animated look, but when you go back to the Cryolophosaurus roots in Jurassic Park, the 1999 variant would have been really, ironically, Warpath came out in 1999, and that's, you know, kind of when the amalgam testing is believed to have taken place. That's just that's funny. There is no such thing as coincidences, so fun. Personally, I'd prefer it if they just let the animal be representatory of a wild, medium-sized predator that got out and started doing dinosaur things in a new Jurassic Park story. It's a creature that has a distinctive look and even cool paleontological history that I think would really do wonders for the brand if they ever wanted to adopt it into their live-action films. And I think that is a good course of action to take. I mean, we've got something like Dilophosaurus, which looks extremely striking. Everybody knows Dilophosaurus because of the original Jurassic Park. And the way they treated the Indoraptor in Fallen Kingdom would probably be a good base for how they treat something like a Cryolophosaurus. It's slim, it's a sleek carnivore with a very weird head crest, and I can just imagine all kinds of cool stuff being done that we haven't seen before with that sized animal and its backstory of, you know, how it would communicate to other members of its species with the head crest, how it could actually do stuff on a basis of hunting or even survival when it comes to a colder environment. But hey, those are all just my own thoughts and opinions. Now, what do all of you guys think? What are your thoughts and opinions on Cryolophosaurus, and do you think it would make for a cool creature in a new movie? I think using the Dilo or even the Indoraptor for inspiration would be a good starting point. And since Jurassic already has these kinds of animals on standby, you know, Cryolophosaurus was almost in Camp Cretaceous. It was like, it had concept art made for it. They were picking which one would, I guess, eventually become Bumpy. But I think it's cool to actually bring them back up. Bring the Cryolophosaurus back if they ever wanted to go all out with its inclusion. But hey, whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be on this animal, and whether or not it deserves to be in a Jurassic Park movie, I'd love to hear all about them in the comments down below. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens and InGen executives, as well as all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. You've all helped my channel immensely, and I'm incredibly grateful for all of that support. Now I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video and hope that you enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you all consider subscribing. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.